Yo, what's up? Thank you for tuning in to this video. This is the Dating for Kings podcast. My name is King Raxo, and in this one video, or if you're listening in this podcast, I'm going to tell you how to actually become every woman's Prince Charming and get them to sleep with you pretty quickly. If you're not into that, if you're looking for a relationship, do not watch this video. There's plenty other videos that will tell you how to get in relationships, how to do that. This is strictly for the guys who really are tired of spending a lot of time with women and not seeing the result on their type of time. Okay, so first of all, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button on this video. This is all just truth. And so if you can like it, it'll share with people who are looking for the truth so they don't have to go through the problems that everybody has to go through. The title of this video is If You're Her Type, She Will Fuck on the First Date Easily. You have to understand that women make rules and boundaries for men who are not up to their standard or not up to their level. But if you pass the test, if you show her that you are the type of man that's different from everybody else, all of those rules and boundaries go out the window and she will let you sleep with her literally instantly. So let's assume that every woman you wanted for a sec, let's just assume that every woman you wanted, you just happen to be her Prince Charming. Different women, but every woman felt as though you were the perfect man for her, right? You're the man that they've been waiting for their whole lives, right? You fulfill her fantasy. Well, that's probably not your reality right now, but that's how it feels when you level up in the dating game. So 80 to 95% of the first dates I go on now, depending on the season, I sleep with them the first night. Am I every woman's Prince Charming? No, I'm not. I'm far from it. I'm a guy who most of them wouldn't even have paid attention to before I learned the game. Right? So why am I their type now? Why am I their Prince Charming now? It's actually very simple. It's because I understand them. I understand their desires. I understand what their type is, usually just by looking at them or just by having a very short conversation with them, right? It doesn't take much to know what a woman's type is. And why this is so important, why you have to know what her type is or what her desires are, is because a lot of men think with this mindset, because they get programmed by women or by society, that women aren't aiming for something, that all these women are just out here single, solo, dolo, swerving dudes left and right. But you have to understand, in reality, I want you to picture this, is there's a big majority of the world that women are turning down. It's probably 98% of guys, right? They're turning them down, who they act very mean to. They act one way to them. Right? They will ghost you. They will be wishy-washy with you. They will literally not even pay you any mind. Whereas there's a 2% group of guys, 3% for some women, right? Who they are completely the exact opposite for. They want them badly. They are shooting for them. They are trying to start conversation with them. They're sliding in these guys' DMs. When they see him out, they're sometimes even putting themselves inside of their vicinity or even making an approach on these guys. And so there's two completely different pools of people. And one of these groups of people, which is a very small minority, they're actually shooting for. They're trying to look good for this group of guys. They're trying to look good every time they step out the house in the chances that they will meet this guy. And so when you understand that and you really let that sink in, then you have the choice right now to be like, okay, am I going to stay how I am and be in this group of guys, this pool, or do I want to level up, turn up, and be in this 2% group, right? You have the choice. To give you some context before I go into the video, I grew up in South LA. I grew up in the hood, okay? And in that city, what the women were into, what I figured out, every woman's type is hood dudes, all right? Now, the good thing is I already grew up in that area. And so a lot of my personality, we already spoke with slang. We already were just in that type of energy already. All I did when I grew older was I just stopped being the person that I was in college. The person I was in college was a little bit more I was studying a lot. And so I wasn't really myself because the group of people I was around wasn't like people I was with back home who were mostly black. In college, it was a lot of different races that I was around. So all I did was I just went back to who I was before I went to college, right? Now, because of that, I became a lot of women's type very quickly because I have a great personality. I already have great energy. And because I had that hood element to my personality, I didn't really have to do that much to get a lot of women in LA. all right? Because I met their desires, I met their type. The reason why that's important is because a lot of you guys, maybe you used to be somebody who was naturally masculine. Maybe you used to be somebody who could get the types of women that you're into now, but you've probably lost your way because you're going after your career ambitions or you're doing other things that are taking you away from your natural masculine essence. All right, so when you can step back into that, which is what many women want, which is what I'm gonna go over here, then you start to get a lot of women and you start meeting their type just by being your natural divine self. When I say that I understand women and their desires, what I mean is that I deeply understand that women are just as sexual, if not more sexual, than men are. The way that you and your boys are, you guys send memes about girls, or, you guys talk about the girls that one of you guys are talking to, or you guys talk about how the night went when you got with this new girl, that's exactly how women are. And the reason why I figured this out was back in 2014, right? I used to live literally with girls. Okay, so I used to live, it wasn't like in the same room, but the same building. I used to live with girls who, they became my good friends, okay? This is before I knew anything about the game that I'm sharing right now. But I became good friends with them, and I started to see how they moved. I started to see how they talked, and most of their conversation would be around men. And these were like very attractive women, like really attractive, right? And most of their conversations were about men. I literally saw one of the girls, because one of them was innocent when she came in. She was a virgin, literally. The other one was like, I'm not gonna say a hoe, but she got down, right? And I saw one of them literally turn the other one into a hoe. I saw it in live time. I saw all of this play out, right? And the way that it happened, I'm like, oh shit. Like, I remember walking in on them one day, no bullshit. This is all facts. I'm not saying no bullshit. I walked because I would just go to the place. Like, I would just walk in, like on some fucking friend shit, right? And so I just went into their room one day, and one of the girls was literally with a banana teaching the other girl how to suck dick. Like, on God, I literally went in, I walked right out the room and got out. Like, I was just like, okay. And then I left, right? But what I understood from being in that I knew them for like 3 years or so, but I was like living with them for like a year. I would still go over their place over those 3 years and stuff like that. And you just get to understand how women think. And all of the women that I've dated, after seeing how they are, seeing how their friends are, all of that, you start to understand that women are way more sexual than men are. Like, the most attractive women are very sexual. Like, very, very sexual. They know that they're attractive. They know that they got a fat ass. Why do you think they show it off so much? Why do you think they wear these fucking outfits? Like, they love the way that they look. They want a dude to just, like, get it. You need to understand that women want sex more than you. If you want to start being women's type and you want to start being her Prince Charming, you want to start closing more on your first dates, you have to understand that she came out for sex more than you did. She's not agreeing to go on this date with you because she wants to see what your personality is like, or because she wants a fun night, a fun outing, right? She could have fun with her friends. She could see what your personality is like over the phone. She saw it probably when you matched with her on a dating app, or she probably saw your Instagram. All right, she knows what your personality is like. She's agreeing to go on the date with you because she thinks you're a good candidate to take her to Pound Town and give her vicious back shots. When a woman is swiping on your Hinge or on Tinder, when she's looking at your Instagram profile, or when you make the approach in person, every interaction with her is out of this lens where she's like, could this guy take control of me in the bedroom? Will I allow myself to let him take control? You have to really, really understand evolutionary history to understand why women think like this, okay? Women know that them having sex with you, they're literally letting you take control of them. That's the whole point of seduction. It's like they're letting you have your way. And so they only have to confirm for themselves, is this guy strong enough for me to let him take control? Is this guy strong enough for me to let that be another body on my record? So since I understand that women are looking for and really, really want hyper masculine, extroverted men who are elegant, classy, reserved, and mysterious, I just am that person when I talk to her. Every interaction I have with her is out of that lens as my personality. So her perception of me is her Prince Charming. Every woman's perception of me is that Prince Charming, because who are they to think that I'm not if I do everything right? I don't need to think about being this person. I don't need to really try that hard And that's why a lot of my first dates end with me sleeping with them, because that's just who I am now. That's just who I've become, right? Before, the process that I went through was before I was not that person, okay? And then I figured out, okay, what is it that women are into? What are the type of men who they're, and it's a long process that you go through of like learning this, right? But you have the choice at that point to become that person or not. And so I chose to become that higher side of my personality that I had already shown signs of before. And all I had to do was just step into it, and then boom, add that with a little bit of game and a little bit of, extra ambition in your career. And a lot of women just literally just fall for you. All right. So I understand that most men are not like this. They're not accurately balanced, right? You can show up on a first date and you can be super extroverted and super masculine, right? But you talk too much about yourself, which makes her feel like you're not listening to her, right? You could be the perfect gentleman, super classy, but if you don't know how to escalate and lead the date towards the bedroom, she's gonna think you're feminine, right? She's not gonna think you're worthy of her. Everything on first dates is about balance. So if you're her type, she will fuck on the first date. Okay. I've learned that a lot of women have different types of men that they find attractive. But when it comes to personality, it's usually a small range of traits that they get the most turned on for sexually. Now, when it comes to relationships, it's a very, very wide range. When it comes to just sex, it's a very, very small range of things that they get turned on by. And this is the reason why when people get into relationships and marriages, they have dead bedrooms or the sex isn't the same, because then she starts to see the whole range of your personality and not just the traits that get her turned on. Even if she says to you, she's not that type of girl, or she doesn't go to men's places on the first date, or she wants to get to know you first or whatever, understand that I have heard all of those things from women who I still ended up sleeping with the same night. When I say 80% to 95% of my dates end with me sleeping with them, that doesn't mean like it's just easy, like they just like fall through like nothing. No, a lot of them still will throw up bullshit like, oh, like I wanted to get to know you. Oh, you just want sex. Oh, I'm not that type of girl. And some of them will say that all of those things on the same night and still end up sleeping with me. The latest one literally was this past weekend. So why do women create rules and boundaries like that? And they seem like they're so bent on it, like they're so into it, like, you can literally get convinced by the way a woman says something that like, okay, she's really, really, innocent. Like, I'm not going to try that with her. Right. But really, they just do it as a means of protecting themselves from men who are not their Prince Charming. Okay. I'm going to say that again because it's super important. Women create rules and boundaries like that as a means of protecting themselves from men who are not their Prince Charming. They use those lines to convince beta males that they are off limits so that you will value her more. Now, for me, when women say this to me, right, like when they say, oh, I don't, like, you only want sex, or, you only came out for sex, or I'm not that type of girl, I don't go to men's places, whatever it is, I take it as a mental note of where she's at the moment, like how she's feeling about me at the moment. And I just go like, okay, I'm going to keep being the right person. I'm going to keep being the right Prince Charming for more time in order for her to desire me more. So I never think of it like, okay, she's actually not trying to have sex with me. I just think of it like she hasn't seen enough of the Prince Charming. She hasn't seen enough to say that I am different from all the other guys who are trying to get at her. So what does that mean? That I'm just going to keep speaking with a masculine vocal tonality. I'm just going to keep showing my strength of character. I'm just going to keep talking to her about shit that's going on in her life. I'm going to keep talking to her about a bunch of things and like listening to her to get her to talk, right? Listening is so important because literally the time that you guys spend together, if she feels like you guys are having a good time together, she feels like you guys are talking about shit that's good and you guys are like, having good conversation, she's paying attention to the way that you respond to things. She's paying attention to the way that you ask things. She's paying attention to the time that you guys are spending together as like, okay, I actually like this dude. Like there's something about his vibe that I like. And that's how women start getting attracted to you more on a first date or on a link. So on a first date, every action that I make, from the moment I give her a hug as we first meet, to my vibe, to the way I lead the interaction, to the way I make her laugh, to the way I route the conversation towards her, to the way that I act like my goal the whole time isn't to get her or have sex with her, to how I let her come towards me rather than being desperate to have her, it makes her see me as this Prince Charming. When a man is doing everything perfectly with her, how would she not think that she's living in some magical fucking fantasy? She's never been on a first date with a man who carries himself and moves like this. So whereas in the past she would have wanted to end the night and make the guy wait until date 3 or 4 to get it because she still wants to fuck, right? But she might make you wait for it. In her mind, she thinks, okay, this is a different situation because you're a different man than the rest. You are her Prince Charming. So she'll happily go home with you or invite you to her place because she deeply wants you. She doesn't want the night to end. Now, if you're not a man that can effortlessly run first dates like I can, don't worry. Like I said before, women used to literally give me no attention. So it's not like you can't turn into the type of person that can. You know, I just had to work on my appearance, my speaking skills, my wardrobe, and everything else to get to this point. But I had to also go on many, many dates that failed before I learned how to be every woman's type. I had to go through a lot of, women who made me wait. I had to go through a lot of women that made me wait and I thought that something was going to happen and they ghosted. I had to go through, assessing like, okay, what is it like? What are we even meeting up for? Like, what is the point of us going on a date? I had to go through a lot of paying for dates, that went nowhere. I had to learn how to really architect the better side of my personality. And it's fun when you think of it like that because you take every day as feedback. You learn how to get better at bringing out your natural, divine part of your personality. I was talking to this dude yesterday, and we talked about how dating is such a great personal development tool because women do not go for bullshit. They only demand the best. And so it forces you to become the best version of your personality, the best version of your look, and that's the way it should be. All right, so you can do the same thing I did. You just need to pay more attention to what women truly desire. Thank you guys for listening to this. If you're listening on podcast, this is the Dating for Kings podcast. Thank you guys for watching this video. If you're on YouTube, make sure to subscribe to the channel. Make sure to like this video. Leave a comment if you agree or disagree. And I will see you guys on the next one.